box that looks like a
Yeah,
computer.
I'll see it. I'll see it.
Click that. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, Nicole. And thanks, Tracy, for the great organization of this event and for my urgent requests. Thanks for having me and for the invitation to speak. And yeah, it was always a great pleasure. Already a great pleasure to follow the other talks. Today, I want to give you some insights in my applied work at the Red Bull or Rasenballsport Leipzig Youth Academy as a sports psychologist. I've been here for 4 years now. And I have the privilege to work with the youngest ones, with the under 13s till under 19th. And this project is really focused more on the under 16th, 17th, and 19th. So mic'd up in elite youth football. You may heard about mic'd up videos or recordings from TV broadcasting events and videos, because that was my way how it started. The thing is, speaking and communication has always been of great interest to coaches and players. But my impression was they never really trained it. It always came to their mind when they noticed, there's not much more communication going on. My players are silent or quiet. The opponent is much more talking. They do tactical talking and coaching, or they motivate each other a lot. My players are quiet. We got to do something. And that's how I came to the point, okay, how can we push that topic into sports? And one of my go-to clips the clips I used in my coaching practice with players are the clips you may know of, the mic'd up videos of, for example, of Ashton Sims, a rugby player, a leading player who is motivating and giving comments to his players a lot, and I really love his style. Or even LeBron James got mic'd up, and you can follow him on YouTube. And these were clips I used to show my athletes as role models. During the Corona time, we also heard a lot, because the audience was gone, no spectators in the stadiums. You could hear the players talking, and especially Thomas Müller, one of our national players and the player of Bayern Munich. He's the one who is really into talking on the pitch, motivating his teammates and giving tactical instructions. And since March 2000 this year, I wasn't sure how to do it in my work, or to apply it in my work. And one of my players, he asked me, Nils, can we use the same mic? And I said, I will call the company. And the company was willing to rent me their device, the LeBron mic. I'll just show it you in a quick second. That's the mic. It's a little casing or a receiver, a transmitter with a casing made out of rubber. So it's very flexible, and it can withstand some impact, and it doesn't annoy the athlete, because then LeBron James wouldn't wear it, right? So I put it in the GPS vest of my players. I used some tape to tape the microphone, to fix the microphone. And then I was connecting and pairing the video and the audio signal at the sideline with a mobile receiver that signaled the audio sound directly to the video. And afterwards, I had the video with the sound of my athlete. So that was it. And what was recorded is, of course, tactical coaching is the one basic thing that coaches want their players to communicate on the pitch. It's about coaching basics like time, man on, dribble, or positioning, higher, deeper, left, right, or some principles and strategies in your philosophy, or even some tactic talks in breaks when players gather to talk about some tactical issues. Of course, motivational coaching has also an impact on your performance, and there's mostly about encouraging and strengthen your teammates, and to keep your focus on the next action and to stay in the game. And yeah, what I also realized when I was recording, because yeah, my starting point was the teammate coaching. I realized that I also recorded the self-talk, and that was the highlight of this game-changing thing I had as a sports psychologist. Because for years we were talking about how can we manage to get the thoughts athletes are thinking for self-talk. Because normally we use the strategy that we ask the athlete later after the game or after practice what were you thinking, how were you talking to yourself. And I mean, when they are in training, in practice, or in the game, they are highly stressed, and their memory is not as good as if we record it directly and we can show them afterwards how they managed to focus on action, how their arousal and mental state were. And this all is always to be set in context with the individual or group context, team context, on the position, like probably a goalkeeper and the center backs and center midfield players have to communicate more, probably more tactical comments. Then it's also the personality plays a role. I come back to that later. And we see that it's really important to have a good, that the team and players have a skill or are skilled in communication, because it can help at critical moments. It can affect the teammate, your own team, the coach, and of course the opponents. And my goal was to raise awareness to that topic by using that player's mic, and I wired up, I think, 7 or 8 players, a goalkeeper, a defender, a striker, a wing player, and I will give you some. I will share some experiences on the next slides. At first I have to say, players communicate more than we think. That was the first finding, because some players, they communicate more quietly, but they do communicate. I had this one center back who's more a silent player, but he does communicate a lot tactical wise, and that really helps his next teammates. And when you as a coach or as a sports psychologist, you are outside the field, you don't hear them talking. But when you really record it, or when you get closer to them, you hear them. So audio recordings bring to the video quiet darkness, and they also help to reveal the level of understanding of the game. So what the player, how far the player and how well the player understands the philosophy and of your game you want to play. Tactical wise, I had this goalkeeper at the central defender. There were differences. The goalkeeper, for example, he had a very loud voice, but he was speaking very fast. So the advice was more about, maybe speak more clear or clear, and use the appropriate comments, because he was talking a lot, but there were some things that weren't so right. It really emphasized also the need for, when you give a comment, put the name next to it and see how your teammate will probably react faster or sooner and quicker. Then I had 2 players where the issue, my starting point was teammate coaching, but as we watched the recording, the topic came up of self-talk, that they were destructively talking to themselves or judging others because of their mistakes. So we had the chance to talk about this issues from their perspective, and I think it gives them some level of awareness, okay, to change that. Okay, what to keep in mind when working with video and now audio recordings. I think the level of trust is very important, that you as a coach or a sports psychologist, that you and just the player have the material, access to the material. But of course, I always ask the player, is it okay for you if we show this to the coach? Because when it's about tactical topics, your coach might have some idea and some advices to you as well. And he gets the chance to see how good you are actually coaching. Then I found out, and I mean, this is probably clear to apply sports psychologists. And as we saw in, I think, Luke's talk again, the communication and setting standards and dealing with mistakes is always a reflection of the coaching style. So the coaching style or the team culture and the club culture, they play into the level of communication. So if you use some of those devices, or if you focus that topic, make sure maybe to reduce your own coaching and give your players more responsibility to make mistakes and to make their own decisions. And have your players at the end ask other players to evaluate the coaching of each other and maybe some additional coaches and share those insights in a good and positive, constructive way. Yeah, coming to my final slide. I think video and audio recordings are a great tool for tracking individual development, especially when it comes to communication, social skills, and coaching on the pitch. I think it's very important to focus on that topic instead of trying to evaluate 7 things at the same time. Focus on one thing, and that can be coaching of the player. My big question mark is, are there any cheaper alternatives than the player mic I used? Maybe some of you guys have made some other experiences. And of course, if you don't have a recording device just yet, and you are a coach and you want to practice teammate coaching, you should start by focus on what the players are saying for a training session instead of what they are doing, and go from there. And go into I call it the eye of the storm, go into the center of the field, go there around and really observe them, how they are communicating with each other. And again, encourage your players to reflect, discuss, and give each other feedback. Yeah, and at the end, maybe raise some awareness to the communication and style of teammate coaching, by make them experience different styles. For example, this one team goes very negative, the other one positive, or one team is loud, one team is very quiet, or have maybe a few players before training, ask them to coach in a different way, and of course reflect it afterwards with the others. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much. So fascinating. We've got a comment now, Nils, in the comment box if you want to read it. Basically, a sports psychologist from Top Football Academy in Poland is doing the same kind of thing, verbal communication and pairing audio and video of the coach with a video and game training session. Very useful practice, not only for coaching the coaches, but for building relationships. Great. And then we've got a question from Laura in the chat there about wondering if you think your approaches any similarities or differences to using Think Aloud. Laura's going to be speaking about this later on, about where coaches and athletes are mic'd up and asked to verbalise their thoughts out loud in action. and sometimes reflecting their own thoughts in and on action.
Can you rephrase this question again, please? That was a long question.
So how similar or how different do you think it is to the Think Aloud approach, where you're asking athletes to verbalize like their thoughts? Is it similar or is it different to that approach?
Do you mean like when the coach is on the pitch and asks the players to verbalize their emotions and their thoughts?
Yeah.
During a break, or like when they are in action?
Yeah, so during action and having the dialogue that's going on, so the self-talk. Would you say it's similar, different benefits?
Okay. I don't really get it.
Maybe ask better than me. So if you want to go on the mic, then that might be easier.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, it's basically Think Aloud. You mic up either the athlete or the coach, and you just be saying, we want you to verbalize out loud anything that comes into your mind. So yeah, we might be capturing the cognitions either of the athlete in action whilst they're performing, or of the coach kind of whilst they're at the side of the pitch coaching.
Okay, so when I mic up the player, for example, in your example, I can catch his cognition, and we can look at it afterwards. Okay, and the second thing?
So the second one was with coaches. So we'd mic coaches up, and then as they're, say, watching the coaching session, they'd be verbalizing out loud what's coming to their mind, and potentially like reflecting on their thoughts as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we do the same with like the mic up session with the coaches, right? You mean if this is important? That's your question.
Yeah, I was wondering if the approach that you're taking here has any kind of differences or similarities to using Think Aloud. Yeah.
Not quite. Do you have something in mind?
I think I was thinking that there were similarities maybe when you were talking about how you collect the self-talk from some of the coaches and the players in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, when I collect the self-talk, I mean, I think this one of the big similarities is, okay, they really need to trust me, that they see the footage first before showing it to others. I think that's one big thing, but that's probably not the question.
No, that's right. That's fine. Don't worry. I think, yeah, from my perspective, I think there are quite a lot of similarities between the two. So it's just really good to hear about kind of your way of using it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's okay. And we've been using the coach's mic, like another mic, a lot in the past, because it's much easier, because the coaches don't run around and they don't tackle each other. Sometimes they do, but so it's much easier with the devices. And I think it's up to at the end, it's up to the technology. If you have this player's mic, and you can, I agree with you. You can, I think, in 90% apply the same principles when using the player mic or a coach's mic. It just depends on the mic that is flexible and can withstand some impact on the field.
Mm-hmm. Super. Thank you. Thanks, Nils.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, fantastic. I'm just mindful of time and moving on to the next session. But that was fascinating, and I would like to use it for my football team, mainly to catch people out on when they're talking naughty.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your talk.
Thanks, guys.
And any questions that have been asked or you'd like to ask, please feel free to get in contact with Nils. And we've got Carl up next for our student talk session. We're just going to go right into it. If you do need a break, feel free to turn off your camera and grab a drink and things, but we'll just move straight into the student talks. I'm conscious of the time. So we'll have got Carl up first.